Hey, I'm Troy Fowler. I have a relatively robust channel for bow hunting called The Ranch Fairy. I'm also here representing the Ashby Bow Hunting Foundation. So it is December of 2021, and during 22, I intend to do some of the experiments that Ed Ashby wrote about in the Natal study. There's tons of detail in there, and he's really a practical dude, and he had some really practical examples of that anybody could repeat or understand, and that's kind of how I'm wired. So today I have one of the tests from one of his articles called Why Single Bevel Broadheads, and there's a whole lot more detail in there. I'm going to cover some of that stuff, but this one's going to be short and fast, so there won't be any Ranch Fairy intro or any of that stuff. This is going to appear on the Ranch Fairy channel and on the Ashby Bow Hunting Foundation YouTube channel. I have two potatoes. I tried to get them about the same size and length so it was fair. And then I have, this is a tough head. That's a 225. And it is the closest thing to the broadheads that Ed ended up with during the Natal study for its length and width and the way it's designed. That is the closest thing if you were to say in the study, the way this is manufactured, the way it is beveled, the way it is long and thin, and everything else, tanto tip, it is the closest duplicate to the highest performing broadhead in the Natal study. I have a 3-blade broadhead. I don't know what brand this is. I found them. I have a lot of broadheads. And then this is a 2-blade double bevel, short little wicked guy. These guys are real common these days, so I kind of went with that. I have them on rotating inserts that actually spin. So they have a bearing in them. When Ed did this test in the study and showed pictures of it, he put a roller bearing on the back and let the shaft rotate. It was more simple for me to put these because I already had these spinning inserts in there. So one note, when you shoot single bevel broadheads, match the bevel to the helical. So if it's right, go right, left, go left. That way the arrow's already rotating and not fighting against the bevel. These two broadheads, whatever helical you're shooting, spin in the air, and the minute they hit anything hard, they stop rotation immediately. Okay, so that's just a fact. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut these guys in half. I'll probably cut them all tough head length, okay, just to make it fair. And I'll use the bigger, this one's a little bigger round, just to keep the stupid comments down. I'll use the bigger one for the tough head. And then this one, just in case, to be real fair, it'll give the smaller broadheads a chance to possibly pop that smaller potato. So that'll put the advantage to that. The smaller tater cut right down the middle is about the length of the tough head. So I'm just going to cut that one down the middle. That's fine. Okay, and split it off. And then I'm going to cut a piece off the length of the tough head out of the big potato. Mark that right there. All right. I want the point to come out just a little bit because it's easier on me so I won't bleed. Okay, so there's that. And those are pretty equal. So I'm going to set the reason why I'm cutting them is they don't wobble around, slam some broadheads. I'm going to set this down on a piece of cardboard, and I'm just going to push the broadheads real slow through the pointed part and out the back. First up, 3-blade. Okay. And the point is right there. Two-blade double bevel. But the camera angle looks like it's not straight, but it is. It's just because the camera's shooting from over here. We're okay. So this is straight down. point. Okay. The old tough head. Pretty nasty how that thing has opened up and started splitting and making an air pocket. So we can see all three. We see a very, starts to spread it because of the shaft, and we see a very straight opening, okay? We see what you would expect out of a 3-blade, okay? And then with the single bevel, we see a actual cavity forming in there where there's an opening from the bevels rotating. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push them through and we'll look at potatoes. So I already tapped the tough head like a pass through, and that's what it looks like. This nasty big old wound from the potato breaking. You can actually see air through that thing. This is the 2-blade. I've learned to try to be safe and not cut myself. I'm good at cutting myself. Rubber mallet. See the wound right there? Okay. And a little bit of air there from the shaft, dragging in the potato. Cool. But you don't see any, which one is it? You don't see the S-shaped curve and all that stuff. It's all the way out here. Wound. And there's the 2-blade, which is, you know, kind of equivalent to what it is. And then on the exit side, we have, I'm going to squeeze them a little bit, open them up. But you can see the difference. So over here, what you're seeing is the reason why the wound is so wide. You're seeing the leverage at the single bevel, and it's actually pushing the potato and breaking it inside. And that's why it's so wide. So the broadhead doesn't artificially get wide. That's just the material given way from the leverage from the broadhead popping it inside. I'm going to cut it apart here in a minute and show you that. But you want to squeeze it pretty hard. Okay, so that's not that much. This might be interesting. Okay. And here's the tough head. Pretty amazing that the tissue wants to break apart that far. And then 3-blade. Don't bleed, Troy. Not really noticeable impact side. The advantage the 3-blades have, and this is just logic, because as you know, I have a background in physiology of some type. Muscles go in multiples of directions. So one advantage in a soft tissue hit that a 3-blade does have is that it will always cut in 3 different directions, and the tissues tend to want to spread apart because they are literally severed in multiple directions. I'll give you that. But in bone impacts or something hard, we're not seeing anything of any substance there. And I can't see through it. I can a little bit on this side from the shaft drag. That's just the shaft pushing the material out of the way, and actually smushes the material up because the shaft compresses it through the wound. Interesting. All right, well, that's one of the tests Ed did. It's not, you know, it's just a test to show you why you might want to consider shooting a single bevel broadhead just on the opportunity that you might hit something harder than meat. That's the discussion here. We're not planning for plan A. We're planning for plan B, cartilage, moderately heavy bones, shoulder blades and stuff, and being able to rotate through there and pop that. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is, I don't know if this will show anything, but I'm going to cut the wound open. Wound is a potato. And try not to ruin it. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. You can see that it's got a bump in here where the material, you know, started moving around. I tried to cut it as clean as I could, and I snapped it off so it would break on its own plane there. If you look at this side, you can see there's like a chunk missing out of there. 2-blade. Trying to be fair here. I'm trying to cut one side and break it off, and just let it kind of follow the path. All right, we see what we would expect. Pretty much perfectly flat. Okay, once again, there's that, and then there's, let's see, what's that set up like? Just madness in there, right? Not flat from the rotation of the bevel. I did not cut into the potato and try to make that happen. It's just the bevel rotating. Again, here's the 2-blade, and it's much more predictable. And you're going to see that even at high velocities. You're going to see the broadhead. You're going to see the broadhead fail to rotate. I think the 3-blade is going to be kind of, I'm going to cut one side off and see what we see inside. All right, we see a pretty straight V. Okay, so just to be clear, the broadhead went through right. I'm going to flick this out. There's a layer of tissue there. Okay, I missed a little bit, so I'm going to take that off. And you see a very predictable V shape through the potato, right? Through something harder than meat. I'm not going to cut the other side off. I just don't expect anything to be different because of the very clear double bevel flatness, right? A 3-blade is 3 double bevels. So the only, once again, here's the kind of destructive looking tough head. Single bevel. Ashby single bevel, how's that? Brand doesn't really matter. It matches what Ed's outcomes were in the Natal study. See, it's just chewed up. And then, once again, this double bevel, pretty flat, as would be expected. There wasn't any rotation. And then one side of the 3-blade, once again, nice, pretty clean. Like I said, the blades went right through this little bit of tissue here. All right, y'all can draw your own conclusions from that. I'm fine with that. I just wanted to show y'all, like I said, I'm gonna do some videos like this every once in a while. I'll just fire them out on stuff Ed's already covered in the Natal study, which you need to go read. Go to the Ashby Bow Hunting website and read the Natal study. All right, so donate to the Ashby Bow Hunting Foundation. What we'll do is when these videos come out and I get them out there, just showing things in the study, and then finally when we get to start testing on animals, we'll be able to say, okay, well, we have video on that, we have video on that, we have Ed's gigantic study. So we're more layers of things to say, okay, this keeps replicating, and then when we shoot, what happens, right? Ed's already kind of covered most of that stuff, but we're going to start doing more with compounds, do a lot of tests that are new, and Ed's got a list for us that's quite long, so it'll be fun. Thanks for watching.